This is the Ninjago City Markets. It has 6,163 pieces, 21 minifigures, and is the biggest, most expensive, and possibly best LEGO Ninjago set of all time. And today we're going to take a deep dive into all the features, details, and secrets you didn't know about. Let's go. Okay, let's start with a little history for the uninitiated. Back in 2017, LEGO released a wave of sets for the critical and commercial flop that was the LEGO Ninjago movie. Amongst that wave was one set that stood out from the rest, the Ninjago City, the crowning jewel of any Ninjago fan's collection. The set was basically a Ninjago-ified version of the LEGO Creator Expert's then 10-year-old modular line. And it wasn't even actually explicitly featured in the movie, it's just a jumble of random buildings that the designers came up with. And it was a huge success. Then the next year in 2018 it spawned a sequel, the Ninjago City Docks, which wasn't nearly as cool and felt like more of an add-on to the original set. But the Docks still does work well as a standalone set. It was half a base plate wider but significantly shorter than the first one, and the coolest part was you could connect it to the original to make an expanded Ninjago layout. After 2018 there were no more Ninjago movie sets, which meant the Ninjago City line was pretty much dead, done and dusted. Until 2021, when apparently LEGO liked this line so much that they resurrected it with the Ninjago City Gardens, this time under the Ninjago Legacy branding. And this set was also a big success. It was more positively received than the last one, and generally just looked better. It was back to being a corner module, as well as having this little Zane statue as a side build. The minifigures here were also really good, with the first appearance of the mechanic, and exclusive Lloyd with a bowl cut. Fast forward 2 years, and we get another entry in this beloved line of sets, the Ninjago City Markets, yet again under a different theme. This time being released under the Ninjago Dragons Rising line, which is basically a sequel to every piece of Ninjago media before it. Anyway, this set takes up 2 base plates and is back to being a straight module, forming a bit of a pattern here. And the next set is the rumoured Ninjago City Apartments for 2025, which, going off this pattern established so far, should be a corner module. Just note the word rumoured, there is nothing confirmed at this point. I should also mention that starting this month, January 2024, we are getting a micro-scale series of Ninjago City sets, which is cool. Anyway, this concludes the history lesson and brings me to the set itself. Okay, so the box here is really big. It's the same size as Rivendell's box. Though it's not as long as the Gardens box, which is the size box that most big sets used to use. I think this is going to be the standard size of box going forward. Okay, now let's open it up. And actually, I've already built it. I'm just pretending like I haven't.
A few moments later.
Okay, that actually took me about 4 days building it for a few hours a day. That's a pretty long time to build a LEGO set. So let's start with the left side and move around. Down here is a bakery with some pastries like a croissant and some pretzels. And above it is the baker's apartment with a Minecraft micro head and a picture of Nia on the wall, maybe as a reference to when she was thought dead. There is a nice bed and some roller skate pieces, representing maybe just roller skates or maybe something like Sora's mech bike racer, I'm not sure. Also, it's cool that the rooms slide out in this build because it's so hard to take the top off due to the cable car. Around the back here is a blacksmith for Kai where he can forge some tools, and up this ladder is Kai's apartment. There is a bed on the trapdoor, as well as a desk and a shelf with a microscale X1 Ninja charger on it. And what's really cool is that the clock here is built into the wall as part of a support beam. There is a door here that leads out to a small balcony with some sushi. Moving around the back here there's a small stall selling fruits, vegetables and some frogs. And on the front of the sign there's a picture of a dragon, which is possibly a reference to Cole feeding toads to Rocky the Dragon in Season 1. And there are some posters on the side of this large pillar which we'll get back to later. There is also some red support beams turned sideways here, which look really good with the hanging blue lanterns. And over here is what I think is meant to be a barber shop, judging by Camille's scissors. And on the bench inside here is a microscale version of Dragon's Rising Cole. And there is some very interesting part usage here, with a Minecraft animal head turned sideways to represent a mailbox. And around here is Aaron and Sora's apartment, which is really hard to access. Every time they want to go in and out of their apartment, they have to go through the shop or around the side here and climb this dangerous ladder. I wonder how often they slip and fall into the water here. And the interior hardly counts as an interior, as it's literally just 2 beds and a desk. And around here is a missing poster for the infamously rare goat. Maybe this was foreshadowing for the new LEGO goat in Minifigures Series 25. And around the side here is the bottom end of the cable car line. And at the entrance to the cable car station there is a poster advertising the Temple of Celebrations. I love the awning here using the barn doors, except for the fact that they stick out so far on the right that they prevent some Ninjago sets from being connected, which is a real shame. And these red pillars using Technic pieces are really nice looking. And here's something I haven't seen anyone else mention, but hidden in here is a little crawl space and a bed. There's not even room for the minifigure in the bed, and it's hard to access and see from the outside. I've no idea why this exists, but it's cool nonetheless. Out here on the main pathway sort of bit is a small tea stand, and in the foreground there's this nice red bridge cleverly using some Technic pieces. There is a planter box here and a small boat stocked with some fruits and vegetables. On the left side here you can see the outside of the bakery, using some book covers as an awning, and a door as the bakery window. Around here is a nice picture of Wu on a dragon, and we're back to where we started. Let's move up past this nice pillar that uses short roller coaster track pieces, and there's this sign here that says turn and activates a small elevator. Then up here is the top of the cable car station, which I will now demonstrate. It annoys me that it doesn't actually stop all the way up in there, preventing the fold-out floor from being even, which is due to this big lovely tree on top. And you can see lots of signage around here on the walkway, which I will translate later. This part of the walkway here has a neat feature where you can fold it up to allow the cable car to pass through. Then in the back left here is Cyrus Borg's store, which has some items on display but is otherwise pretty empty. And out the back of the store is this small little elevator for Cyrus Borg to get up to his office, which he just barely fits in. The elevator itself is pretty simple but looks very unsafe, especially considering Borg is in a wheelchair. In fact, the whole point of the cable car in this set is to allow Cyrus Borg to get from the ground floor up to his office. The only problem is the step up to the front of the Borg store looks way too high for his wheelchair. And speaking of the front of the Borg store, it looks really good. I really like the use of these huge car fender pieces in lime green, and I think the top looks good as well with the smooth shape and the red girders at the back. Moving to the right we find this large bridge which uses these trans neon green garage door pieces as railing, as well as these nice teal plant pots. Just 2 studs off the centre of the set here is this red ornate gateway which looks really good. I must say this part of the set feels way too spacious, at a whole 8 studs wide, which is not something that you find often in these Ninjago City sets. I definitely feel like there should have been some market stalls up here to fill the space, and the same goes down here where it feels way too empty, especially considering the set has markets in its name. And here is one of my favourite parts of the set. As you cross this bridge and go past these posters, you get to Livey's Karaoke Bar, owned by Dareth. I really like the design of the small planter box here under this sign. And the front of the bar uses this interesting technique with tiles inside of trans 1x2 pillars, the same technique used on the original Ninjago City set. And I love these new double door pieces introduced in 2022. They are something I have wanted from LEGO for ages. On the interior is a jukebox and the most well designed LEGO pool table I've ever seen. And the jukebox interestingly uses these printed tiles here, even though you can't see them. And for one minor note, this piece on the jukebox here has terrible quality. I can see the moulding line, which is less than desirable. There are some pool cues and a dartboard, as well as a counter and some glasses. And back here is the actual karaoke stage, where in Season 8 Cole, disguised as Rocky Danger Buff, sang the Glowworm song. And on the wall is a framed picture of Dareth and the former owner, maybe? I'm not sure. And I really like the use of these waterfall pieces here in trans purple. Moving around the back through this small walkway is a sign for mech racing and a shrine to Jay. Likely because he is currently missing in the show. Going up these stairs you reach a balcony, and right at the back here is my favourite feature of the whole set. Continuing the trend of working real-life mechanisms in the Ninjago City sets, such as the ATM in Ninjago City, the drink dispenser in the docks, or the arcade in the Ninjago City Gardens, this set has a flushable toilet. That's right, in this tiny little bathroom, you can push down on the handle to send this conspicuous brown tile on a quiet the journey. And the brown tile goes down here through the various levels and straight into Ninjago's fresh water supply, where children play and people fish. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Ninjago City set is called Ninjago City Hospital, or even better, Ninjago City Sewage Treatment Plant. On this side of the toilet is a poster, and on the other side is this 3D advertisement. Moving over to the front of the balcony is a small sushimi shop, named after the character from Prime Empire. On top you can see a big brick-built squid, using that Imperium Guard helmet piece as a frying pan. I really like this sushi shop, though I don't envy being that guy working up there in that tiny little space for 8 hours a day. And now in a monotonous voice I'm going to speedrun all of the signs here, that are in the fictional language of Ninjago, which my brother helped me translate using the translation page in the back of the Ninjago City Gardens instructions. Alright, here we go. Steeper Wisdom, Pet Shop, Ice Planet, RCX 2.0, Sushimis, Open Close, Cable Car, Ninjago Toy, Sea Shintaro, So Clean, Pet Food, CB&B, whatever that means. Missing, Play Temple Celebrations, Ninjago City Markets. Now open, Blacksmith, Steeper Wisdom, again. Store 24/7. Also, if this is a barbershop, why does it have to be open 24/7? Menu. I believe the top says SYN, which may be the band name, though the bottom definitely says World Tour. New album out now, Laffy's Karaoke Club, open. Mechmaster, post, rebuild soon. Karaoke, I mean this one's pretty self-explanatory. And on the dartboard, the left side here says Dareth, and I believe the right side says Tom. Sea Art, Museum, Starfarer, which is a reference to this comic. This one says Zoo. Ninjago City Zoo confirmed. Ninjago News, Relax. NCG, likely for Ninjago City Gardens. McBragh, K, Monster Fighters, The Tale of Brickbeard. Art, Enjoy, Snowberry Pie, Sora, Aaron, Hi, Map, NG News, and finally, Turn. Okay, I believe that concludes our translation session. Now we'll talk about some complaints I have before we combine the sets and look at the minifigures. I really like this set and I think it looks amazing, though there are a few weird bits that don't make much sense. Like the aforementioned Borg store step being too high, or the lack of railing on the elevator. There definitely should have been more market stalls dotted around, and a few parts of this set just feel unfinished. There are certain parts where there definitely should be safety railing, like here and here. There definitely should have been less of a gap in the foldable sidewalk, and it really bugs me that the cable car doesn't fit all the way up the top. And then there are just some small weird bits, like random gaps and studs and bars with nothing attached. Just a few bits that feel like they needed something more. And I still don't know why this bed is hidden in here, though this isn't a complaint, I like it. And I am now going to combine it with the other 3 Ninjago City sets. Unfortunately, because of this barn door here, the only building that can go next to it is the Ninjago City Gardens, which is just really bad design. Luckily, the Gardens looks good next to it, and after playing around with them a bit, this is my favourite combination. City, docks, markets and gardens. I also find it funny that none of the apartments have toilets, meaning if you live in one of the several apartments dotted throughout, you have to run either all the way to Ninjago City or all the way to the markets to use the toilet. Too bad if there's a line. And before we take a look at the minifigures, I wanted to mention the instructions, which unfortunately aren't as good as the previous 3. There's nothing extra inside of here except for an ad. A little designer insight would have been nice. Also, another note, if you're building this in a low light level, it can be hard to distinguish between some of the colours. For example, regular yellow and this orangey flame kind of yellow. And if you have all the pieces in a tub with the spare pieces from the previous bags at the bottom, make sure you pick the right colour studs and flowers and pay close attention to the instructions when building. More than once I put the wrong stud in the wrong place and had to fix it. And now let's look at arguably the best part of the set, the minifigures. The Ninjago City sets have always had good minifigures, and the last one had some really great minifigures, with the never before seen The Mechanic and Bowl Cut Lloyd. But this set just knocks it out of the park with the minifigs, and you'll soon see why. I'll just breeze past Lloyd because you've seen him a million times at this point, and also Nia is still sorta common, appearing in 2 other sets. Moving on to the next ninja, we have the highly requested Blacksmith Kai. The only thing is this Blacksmith Kai sorta sucks because none of his parts are exclusive, meaning you could pretty easily make a second one. Though he does come with a new and exclusive trans orange katana. The next ninja is a fantastic one, Detective Zane. This is an outfit for Zane featured in only one very memorable episode of the show, and I did not expect him to get a minifigure form, at least this soon. They even gave him an entirely new face, which is as rare as Mr. Gold when it comes to Zane. The hat and the torso are exclusive as well, and he comes with this magnifying glass. The last 2 ninja, Jay and Cole, appear here in microscale form, which is pretty nice. The next two figures are the newest members of the Ninja team, Sora and Aaron, in their urban outfits. Aaron here uses the same face and torso as usual, but this time has a black muffin top kind of hairstyle and these nice exclusive pants. And he's holding a 1x1 waffle tile to represent his famous snowberry pie, which is very similar to the 1x1 waffle tile seen in the Stranger Things set, but not exactly the same. Urban Sora unfortunately has no exclusive parts, as her face, legs and torso are the usual, and her hair appears in a 2024 set as well as her build a minifigure version. It is very disappointing that Sora hasn't received her own hairpiece yet, instead just using this recoloured monkey kid piece. I hope we get a show accurate Sora hair one day. Next is a minifigure who has been highly requested for years, Camille, the last Elemental Master to receive a minifigure, or at least the last Elemental Master before Dragon's Rising. Anyway, she was introduced in Ninjago Season 4 in 2015, alongside a bunch of other Elemental Masters, who we were slowly drip-fed in minifigure form, and she was the last one we needed. I'm not sure why it took us so long to get her, but I'm sure glad we did. She's not 100% show accurate, but she's pretty good. And I have heard that her hairpiece is actually a retired piece. It was only used twice on minifigures in CMF Series 7 and 12, and the last time it was seen was in 2014. So if it was actually a retired piece, it's crazy that they brought it back for one minifigure after 9 years. And another highly requested minifigure was Cyrus Borg. We got his Overborg form and minifigure back when he was introduced in the show in 2014, and somehow it took us nearly a decade to get his regular minifig form, even though he has shown up pretty frequently in the show since his introduction. And thankfully the minifigure is pretty spot on accurate to the show. Moving on to yet another highly requested minifigure, we have Gail Gossip, as well as her cameraman, Vinnie Folsom. These are two characters who have been in the show for over a decade, literally since the second season of the show, and they are finally making their first appearances in minifigure form here. Gail looks pretty accurate, the only thing wrong is her hairpiece. She originally used this Ice Skaters hairpiece from CMF Series 4, though the last time that piece was seen was in 2019, so it is likely retired. And they replaced it with a newer, more modern hairpiece here, and it is the exact same case with Jordana in the new Dragon's Rising season. Though if they can bring back a retired hairpiece for Camille, why can't they do it for Gail Gossip? Oh yeah, and Vinnie is pretty accurate as well. And now for some minifigures that weren't highly requested but are nice inclusions nonetheless. Racer 7, or Blazy Speed or whatever she's called, is one of them. However, instead of her show accurate outfit, she's wearing a Bionicle shirt, which I imagine is going to be a pretty popular piece. She has the Karen hair in dark orange, and a non-exclusive face and pants. The next unexpected inclusion is Misdemeanor, a character who appeared briefly in Seabound and Crystallized. She is another random but nice inclusion. I think the printing here looks good and she looks pretty show accurate. Another unexpected appearance is Houndhog McBragg, or McBragg as they pronounce it. He was in Ninjago Crystallized and is translated here perfectly. I like the torso printing, especially with his bulletproof vest, and I think the face printing looks really good. Next is Dareth, who uses his face that was first seen with the same hair in the Downtown Diner set, and looks a lot better than the last Dareth we got. Here he has his exclusive printed torso. I also wanted to point out that his hair here feels really weird. It's like it's almost a different texture or a different material than the usual Lego plastic. Weird. And the rest of the minifigures are just the compulsory Ninjago citizens. A baker, the sushimi chef, a dodgy looking tea vendor, a boat vendor, an old lady, a Borg store employee, and a dojo kid. That's literally what the box calls her. I also wanted to point out that this set includes a spare chef hat, which is pretty cool. And despite what it looks like, the build for this set is really sturdy. In fact, it's the sturdiest out of every Ninjago City set, I'd say. And I forgot to mention that if you don't like stickers, you are going to hate this set. And that pretty much sums it up for the Ninjago City Markets. It's a really great set. Apart from a few minor weird things, this set is perfect. It's got an attractive build and great minifigures. Out of all 4 Ninjago City sets, I'd say this one is probably my second favourite, behind the original city and in front of the gardens and the docks. It has to be my second favourite set released in 2023, only beaten by Rivendell, and followed by the Avengers Tower. Though I don't have the Avengers Tower, so my ranking is subject to change. So is this the best Ninjago set of all time? In my opinion, no, but to some people, yeah, it probably is. Though it is definitely in the top 5 in my books. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, consider liking, subscribing, commenting, or click the video here. That's been all for today, folks. Have a great day and a happy new year.
Ninjago.